It was an exciting game like the Red River rivalry should be. You go back and look at big games in college football each week, and now with College Game Day and all of the hype, a lot of times the hype's better than the game. And this game lived up to all the expectations. It was a great football game between two really good, I thought, well-coached football teams, but good football teams and talented football teams. And both teams played so hard, and probably the most impressive thing is that when one team would go ahead, the other one would answer, and he would come right back and answer again and answer again and answer again, and that's what made the game just one of the best I've been involved with. It was also fun that it was the largest crowd in Cotton Bowl history, and something that these kids can remember from both teams for a long time, and I thought the crowd was louder because of the extra seats, and the setting was what everybody wanted it to be. And it was fun to have all of our NFL guys back. There were so many that were back, some of them currently playing that were open, and some guys that just are between teams or are not playing any longer, and they were there. But we had a pretty good-looking bunch on that sideline now. We could dress some of those guys out. But once again, I thought the game lived up to the hype. Both teams played really hard, played well. It was a physical game, and one that people will remember for a long time. We said last week two of the things that we thought would determine the game would be turnovers and kicking game, and we felt like that's what happened. We won the turnover battle 2-0 with true turnovers, and then we forced 3 fourth down stops. So really we had 5 turnovers or change of possessions to only 2. And we felt like that was very significant in this ball game. And then the 2 biggest plays in the kicking game, Jordan Shipley's kickoff return at a time where we needed to change momentum back and forth, and Curtis Brown's play on the fake punt, because he comes from the outside right. The punter runs away from him to our left, and he runs him down from behind and stops him short, which was another really big play. But we won all 3 phases in the kicking game because of those 2 plays. Jordan Shipley and Curtis Brown were our special team players of the week, and we felt like you could also look at Hunter Lawrence. I mean, he was 100% with his 3 field goals and extra points, but we felt like those guys were most productive. Offensively, the 2 players that were most productive, Jordan Shipley and Quan Cosby. Those guys blocked well, they caught the ball, they made plays after the run, and we're really, really proud of their performance. The best lineman, the boss hog of the week, was Chris Hall, and he had some big guys to block inside, and he did just a super job, and we're proud of him. Best contributor was Colt McCoy. He continues to play at a high level. People were talking about that 80% against lesser competition is impressive, but let's see how he does when he gets against a really good defense. He continued to be in that 80 percentile with completions and still taking care of the ball. You look at where he was last year with the 10 interceptions as compared to, 4 this year, and 20. He's responsible for 21 touchdowns this year as compared to 10 at this time last year. So he's just playing at so much more of a high level. And Chris Obanai had the best play of the game. The run at the end of the game to put the game away was an outstanding run, but also he's just playing the best we've seen him play in his 5 years. Good thing, offensively, the good things, we kept answering, and that's something a good team has to do. This game, because of the split crowd, we think has more momentum shifts than any we coach in. It's just been amazing, and the players feel the same way. So to win this ball game, you're going to have to take momentum and turn it back, because it'll be against you some. They finished. The offensive kids finished plays. They finished drives. They finished the game, because when you're down there with 4 minutes and some left and you're sitting in a position where you've got to make a couple of first downs and get the ball on the other end of the field, they not only did that, they went down and scored. There were 3 drives over 74 yards, which, again, against a great defense is hard to do. And once again, no turnovers, which we felt like was a big, big part of the ball game. And it was 2 of the best teams in the red zone in the country. We were 7 out of 7 in the red zone on Saturday afternoon. Defensively, we were able to force the 5 turnovers, the 2 interceptions, and the 3 fourth down stops. We felt like that on a negative note, there were 3 other balls on the ground that we forced fumbles and didn't get on them. And there was another interception that we could have gotten. But we had 4 3-and-outs. We stopped the run at really, really well. 20 attempts for 48 yards. That's 2.4 yards per attempt, which in this ball game, as good as they can run the football, we felt like that was something we had to do, is make them one-dimensional, and we were able to. We did miss 10 tackles for 91 yards after the catch, or after contact, excuse me, and that's something we have to improve. Some of that credit should go to OU, because they've got really, really good football players. But we did get 13 hits on Sam Bradford, their quarterback, and 3 of those were quarterback sacks. So we felt like that we kept him from getting as comfortable as he had been in the first 5 weeks. But we did give up too many big plays. The good thing is that we felt like that to win a game like this and go back and see so many things we can correct on both sides of the ball will really help us get prepared for this week. Secondly, probably 3 of the 5 big plays are plays that we had some mistakes and that we can correct. Players of the game, defensively, Brian Arakpo, and it was obvious that he played at such a high level. And the other 2 were supposed to be nemesis coming into the year, Earl Thomas and Blake Gideon. So it's really interesting that the 2 young safeties ended up being defensive players of the game for their production in this game. Ball hawks, meaning you caused a fumble, you got an interception. Earl Thomas caused a fumble and had 2 interceptions. Brian Arakpo caused a fumble. And then Roderick Muckleroy caused a fumble. Hard Hat Award goes to Curtis Brown for a kickoff cover where he hit DeMarco Murray and really knocked him back, and he had about 3 of those. Really, really proud of Curtis. He played so well on special teams that he really stepped up and did a great job for us. So a fun win, a good win, and it just makes this game with Missouri much more important. You look at just the next 3 weeks, and Missouri's ranked 11th. Okie State's 8th, and that is a 2:30 game, by the way. They just announced it. And Texas Tech, number 7. And then we've still got games with Baylor, who's much improved. Their win over Iowa State was really impressive on Saturday night. I got to see some of that, Kansas and Texas A&M. So we've got our hands full, and the fact that we're sitting around here as number 1 right now means absolutely nothing, except we've played well enough in the first 6 weeks of the season that people have acknowledged that by letting us be in that top group. I'm not even sure there is a number 1 team. If I was voting, I would have kept Alabama number 1 if you put them up there, because they didn't play, and I don't think you ought to take a team down that didn't play that deserved number 1 before that, and we could have moved up a couple. But nobody this time last year even knew who number 1 was. Nobody remembers, and nobody really cares. So I don't think it puts any more pressure on our guys, and at the same time, I do think it is a reward for playing well. And we've got to continue to play well as a team. Missouri is a team that comes in with a quarterback like we faced last week. We've got some fun coming up here when you look at Sam Bradford and Colt McCoy and all of us getting to watch those 2 guys play, and they lived up to the expectations. This weekend we've got Chase Daniel. Next weekend, Zach Robinson. Next weekend, Graham Harrell. Next weekend, Robert Griffin. I mean, then Todd Reesing. It just goes and goes and goes, and we're all getting to see why the Big 12 has the best teams in the top 10 right now because of their offenses and their quarterbacks. There's 10 starters back on the Missouri defense. They'll be very disappointed with the outcome of their game on Saturday, so we'll catch their best shot, and we know they'll be excited. So it should be a rocking stadium on Saturday night at 7 o'clock, and one that should be a lot of fun. It's fun to play in games like this. And one of the things we told the players yesterday, don't worry about number 1 right now. 6 weeks from now, if you're still number 1, we'll start talking about it.
Coach, what are you most concerned about, the physical